We have reached the finish line. Don't panic, not our finish line. We still have 8 lessons left. I'm talking about the wine's finish today. Hello again, I'm Annie Shapiro, Certified Sommelier, and welcome to Lucky Day 13, all about the short versus long finish in wine tasting. Now, before we can finish, let's get started. But before we do get started, just a reminder to subscribe and enroll. The links are down below, and when you do, you will get a heads up on what we're drinking, what we're smelling and tasting and talking about, as well as the class notes so you can follow along. For example, today I really brought the heat. Some dried cayenne peppers and fresh ground coffee. These are all examples of some notes you might find in Shiraz or Syrah, or a Syrah-based blend like this one from South Africa. When you hear a wine described as having a long fruity finish or a short bright finish, we are talking about the lasting impression after you swallow. Think of the finish as the follow-through or the aftertaste. Can you still feel the prickly acidity of a young, vibrant wine? That is a crisp finish. Is there a lingering note of ripe fruit or spices on your palate? That is a fruity finish or a spicy finish. Is there a glossy, mild feeling at the back of your throat? That's a smooth finish. Do you taste some saltiness, a rush of salivation? Is it mouth-watering to the end? That's a mineral finish, and we'll talk about that on day 14. And maybe there's barely a finish at all. The wine is super easy breezy to sip on, like a porch wine or a poolside rosé, and that's fine too, if that's what you're in the mood for. It's just important to notice. In last week's episode, day 12, we talked about the body and what makes a full-bodied wine. A wine with a big, beautiful bouquet and a body to match should leave you with something to remember. Sounds romantic, right? Wine is romantic. It connects you to the earth and the people around you. It awakens your senses. Wine makes you more alive. There are wines you could sip on for hours with the right company and the right food and never run out of things to say. But if a wine is all nose and no body, well, that would look funny on a person, let alone a wine. Remember the Flonase ad? If a wine is all body and feels really heavy on your palate, but then the flavors just disappear, it's kind of like having a dry dinner roll when there's no butter on the table. It fills you up, but it's not special. Take a sip of the wine now. If you are subscribed and enrolled, you might have a spicy Shiraz or a Shiraz-based blend like I do. Then, take a moment to notice what you smell, what you taste, and how long the flavors linger after you swallow. How do we measure the finish, you might ask? Good question. We time it. A medium finish could last up to 30 seconds, a long finish up to a minute. Like everything else, finish is on a spectrum, short, medium, and long. If you don't have much to say about the finish, we use words like short-lived or light. If you want to get fancy, you can use words like evanescent or fleeting. Remember, the finish doesn't make the wine, and there are plenty of wines out there that are easy, breezy, beautiful. Cover girl. But a wine that gets your sensory hopes up and leaves you hanging in the end isn't balanced or harmonious. And remember, fine wine is defined by balance and harmony. I chose this wine for a reason. It's got a finish that just won't quit. After all that dark spice you smell on the nose, it leaves a tingly trail on your palate long after you swallow. It's intense. It's definitely a medium to long finish. Let me know in the comments what wine you drank today and how you finished. On that note, we're finished. See you next time.